You want to know her, who she is and where she came from, how she came to be in my presence, and the way she has affected my life. Well, if you're looking for a haunting like you see in the movies, that fills you with fear deep into your soul, you're reading the wrong story. Because it's never scary when the one who is haunted becomes friends with the spirit, right? Victoria came to me as a gift, along with her friends, when I was a small child. From the moment I received her, I could feel that she was no ordinary doll, and I could also feel that she was the one in charge. I was 5 or 6 when she first showed herself in a way I'll always remember. I had stopped playing with her because I got a new Barbie that I was infatuated with. I had come home and went straight to my room to play with my new Barbie, but she had her head turned the wrong way, her arm at an odd angle. I remember glancing at the shelf where Victoria was kept. She seemed to be looking right at me. Odd occurrences have continued to happen over the years. Small, unexplained things that most would brush off, like coming home and knowing I had shut my closet doors, but there they were, open. Finding broken toys that I firmly blamed on my brother, that he denied. Realizing that even to this day, Victoria's dress stays completely clean, no dust, even though she is never cleaned, never played with anymore. As I got older, I started to realize the odd things that were happening were from her, or her presence. But oddly enough, I was never scared. Even thinking about the times she has shown herself, I feel calm. She never meant to cause harm. She has simply wanted to show that she is there. She wants the respects she deserves. And also that a piece of her cares. I truly believe that. Once when I was in high school, I could hear the floorboards creaking upstairs. I could hear distant footsteps walking in my old bedroom, where Victoria still resided. I had moved to the bigger bedroom across the hall. I knew no one should be home though, so I cautiously started to walk up the stairs. And then I felt it, the presence of Victoria that I hadn't felt in years. And I no longer felt scared of an intruder or a burglar. I felt calm and curious, wondering what Victoria was up to. Walking into my old bedroom is where I found her sitting in the middle of the room, as clean as the day I got her, despite her being stashed away in the closet, on a shelf, forgotten about until now. I simply scooped her up and apologized for not getting her out more, but that I was older and couldn't play with dolls anymore. After that, she almost seemed to just become sad and lonely. There are moments that both my mum and I have been sitting on the bed, and we can feel her presence come sit down next to us. She will open doors that are incredibly hard to open, and she will also unlock our dog's cage and let her out during the day. After I had my son, I continued to stay in the house for a few months to have help from my parents with the newborn baby. At first, I had his bassinet next to my bed. And one night I had just gotten him to sleep, and I was laying there in the dark, trying to fall asleep too, when I heard and felt footsteps come right next to me and my son. I asked my mum what she was doing, having absolutely no doubt in my brain that it was her. I got no reply, so I turned on the light, and there was no one there. But that's when I felt her. I felt her curiosity about the baby, but I did not feel scared. I knew she was simply curious. Once my son got older, I moved his crib into my old bedroom where Victoria and the other dolls stay inside the closet. One night I was laying down. I had just gotten my son to sleep and was listening to his soft snores on the baby monitor. Suddenly I started to hear whispers. The whispers became louder, almost as if the voice was getting closer to the monitor, to my baby. It wasn't a language I could understand. All of a sudden, I could hear my son giggle. That's when I got out of bed and went into his room. He was smiling at the closet, the door open that I always kept shut. Victoria staring down at him. When I look back at him, I notice his mobile above his crib is turning, and I had never turned it on. My son and I moved out to our own house, leaving the dolls behind at my parents'. My parents, who never before believed in ghosts or hauntings or my stories of Victoria, were now experiencing situations that they couldn't understand, situations that scared them. They would hear footsteps walking around upstairs, feel a presence sitting next to them. Doors would open and close even if they had been locked. It got to the point that my mum asked me to take the dolls. Once I did, all of the things they experienced stopped. Since having Victoria back in my presence, my son and I have both had experiences with her. Once, while we were napping, my son woke up and pointed into the corner and asked, "Mummy, who is she?" He continued to point at someone I could not see. The next incident was where my son started asking to go play in the basement. I asked him why he would want to go do that. We never play down there. And he replied, "The lady in the basement is nice to me." And often, once again, I hear whispers over the baby monitor. I awoke one night, terrified that someone was inside my house because I heard my son talking back to the voice. I ran into his room, but there was no one there, that I could see at least. My decision to remove Victoria from the rest of the dolls does not fully come from fear. Part is from our history. It is evident she does not enjoy being alone or ignored. And the other part is with my son being able to see her form and communicate with her. It appears to me her presence is growing. I will say the only time I fully experienced fear was the nightmare I had the night I talked to you. It didn't feel like a nightmare though, not like one I have ever experienced. In this nightmare, I was walking into my room, my son asleep on my bed. Once I entered my room, I noticed Victoria sitting next to my bed. She had been in the basement. She looked at me and her eyes became dark circles. She opened her mouth and hissed at me. I quickly grabbed her and tried to smash her porcelain face against the wall. But she turned her head all the way around and hissed at me again. I quickly woke up, my heart pounding. and I swear I saw a figure exit my room. The next day my son came home from school with a drawing of a little girl. Her eyes scribbled over with completely dark holes. This artwork I will send along with Victoria as well. I hope she behaves. She does not like to be challenged, to not be in charge, and she does not like to be left alone. Hello, and thank you very much for watching my first ever video. This story came from an old high school classmate of a co-worker of mine, so a big thank you to both of them. Victoria the doll now resides in the Museum of Shadows in Nebraska, so you may get the chance to see her if you are at all interested. If you enjoyed my narration, please consider subscribing, as I will be trying to upload original stories on a regular basis. If you or anyone you know has a story you would like to share, please send it to my email scarepapa@gmail.com. Thank you.